Kira Vale was not famous, she was not rich, and she certainly wasn't the kind of person who expected to change the galaxy. But she was smart, really smart. She had grown up in New Seattle on Earth, reading every book she could find about alien languages and cultures, while other kids played games. Kira watched old diplomacy logs from the first contact missions. She loved learning how different species talked, thought, and connected. That's why when Earth was finally accepted into the Celestial Concord, a big group of alien civilizations that worked together, like a Space United Nations, Kira jumped at the chance to join their cultural exchange program. Her dream came true when she got assigned to the Xeran embassy on Mars. The Xeran were one of the oldest and most mysterious species in the Concord. They didn't look like humans. They were tall, smooth, and shimmered like water under starlight. They didn't speak out loud like humans either. Instead, they used telepathy, sending thoughts and feelings directly into the minds of others. But even more unusual than their looks or speech was how they connected with each other. Xeran didn't just love in the way humans did. For them, love was a deep merging of minds and emotions. It was how they shared knowledge, healed pain, and even built trust between their people. To understand them, the Concord needed translators, people who could learn to feel what Xeran felt and explain it to humans. That's where Kira came in. She arrived at the embassy nervous but excited. She wore her best uniform, carried her translation tools, and tried not to stare too much at the glowing aliens walking past her. Her supervisor, a human named Mr. Lorne, gave her a quick tour and said, "You're here to observe. Don't get too close. Don't ask too many questions. And whatever you do, don't try to connect with them." Kira nodded politely, but inside, she was already curious. Later that day, she met Zilla. Zilla was a Xeran diplomat, calm and kind. Their voice didn't come from their mouth, it came into Kira's mind like soft music. "Hello, Kira Vale. I am Zilla. I will be your guide." Kira blinked. Her heart beat faster. It was the first time she had ever heard someone's voice inside her head. Over the next few days, Zilla taught Kira how Xeran communicated. They showed her how emotions weren't just felt, they were shared. A Xeran could send another their joy, their sorrow, even memories wrapped in feeling. It is not just love, Zilla explained. It is truth. It is healing. It is growth. Kira was fascinated. One afternoon, Zilla asked, "Would you like to experience it?" Kira hesitated. She remembered Mr. Lorne's warning, but curiosity burned brighter than fear. "Yes," she whispered. Zilla reached out a hand. It looked soft, like light flowing through glass. When Kira touched it, everything changed. At first, there was silence, then warmth, then colors filled her mind, not real colors, but feelings, joy, peace, wonder. She saw flashes of Zilla's life, moments of laughter, quiet sadness, the comfort of home. And then she felt Zilla's thoughts. Not words, not sounds, just understanding. In seconds, Kira knew things about Zilla she couldn't possibly have learned in years of talking. She knew what made them happy, what scared them, even how they saw her. Like a friend, like family. When the connection broke, Kira gasped and took a step back. Her eyes were wet. Her hands shook. "That," she said quietly, "was incredible." Zilla smiled gently. "You are very open. Most humans are not." Kira didn't know what to say. All she knew was that she wanted to feel that again, and again, and again, from that moment on. Kira started spending more time with Zilla. Every session brought new emotions, new memories, new truths. Each time, she felt more connected not just to Zilla, but to the whole Xeran way of life. But something else was happening too. She began to notice how dull normal conversations felt, how empty silence was. Talking with other humans felt like watching black and white TV after seeing full color. She missed the weave. She craved it, and that scared her a little. Still, she kept going back. Because once you've tasted what it feels like to truly know someone, how can you ever go back to just guessing? At first, it was part of her job. She was there to study how Xeran shared emotions, to translate their feelings into something humans could understand. But soon, the line between work and wonder began to blur, each time she touched Zilla's smooth, glowing hand. Kira felt more than just thoughts. She felt alive in a way she never had before. One day, during a session, Kira asked, "Why does it feel so real?" Zilla smiled gently, sending warmth into her mind. "Because we do not hide from each other. We do not pretend. We share what is true." Kira thought about how people on Earth talked without really saying anything. Smiled when they were sad, laughed when they were angry, lied because it was easier. But with Zilla, there were no lies. Everything was open, honest, real. And that made Kira want more. She began to look forward to these moments like a child looks forward to holidays. She woke up early, got ready fast, and rushed to the Ziran embassy even before her official duties started. Lorne noticed. "You're spending a lot of time with them," he said one morning. Arms crossed, Kira shrugged. "They're teaching me things no textbook ever could." He frowned. "You need to be careful. That kind of connection. It's not natural for us." Kira didn't answer, because deep down, it felt natural. More natural than anything else in her life. Later that day, Zilla showed her something new. "Today, you will learn the weave." Kira tilted her head. "The weave," Zilla nodded. "It is how we connect deeply, not just with one person, but with many. It is how we grow together." Kira's heart raced. She wanted to say yes before Zilla even finished explaining. They sat together in a quiet room filled with soft light. Zilla reached out, and Kira took their hand. This time, it wasn't just Zilla's thoughts she felt. There were other Ziran minds joining in, like voices in a choir. They flowed through her like music, joy, peace, curiosity. Sadness all mixed together in a beautiful dance. Kira gasped. She saw memories that weren't hers, felt pain that wasn't her own, shared laughter that came from across the galaxy. For the first time, she wasn't just herself. She was part of something bigger. When the weave ended, Kira was crying, not because she was sad, but because she had felt everything. Zilla looked at her with calm eyes. "You did well." Kira whispered, "I never want to forget this." That night, she couldn't sleep. Her mind kept replaying the moment, the feeling of being completely known, completely accepted. She tried to explain it to herself in words, but nothing came. Closed. So she wrote notes. Big ones. She filled pages with ideas about how the weave worked, how it changed people, how it made them better. She dreamed of sharing it with others. What if humans could use this? What if they could finally understand each other? No more lies, no more war, just truth, shared and felt together. But then she remembered Mr. Lorne's warning. She checked the rules again. There it was, clear as day. Human subjects are not permitted full weave integration. Risk of psychological dependency is high. Kira read it again. Then again, she didn't care. She knew what she had found, something special, something worth breaking the rules for. And so, the next day, she skipped her assigned tasks and went straight to the Ziran embassy. She knocked softly on the door. Zilla opened it. Their eyes lit up. "You came back." Kira smiled. "I think I might be addicted." Zilla laughed, not with sound, but with joy inside her mind. "Then let us teach you more." And so, Kira stepped inside, knowing she was going deeper than ever before, knowing she might never come back the same, but not caring. Because once you've tasted the stars, how can you ever go back to darkness? Every day after her official duties, she would sneak away to the Ziran embassy. She told herself it was for research, for science, for diplomacy. But deep down, she knew the truth. She couldn't stop. Each time she touched Zilla's hand and joined the weave, she felt something new, something deeper than before. It wasn't just emotions anymore. It was meaning, purpose, connection. And every time she left, the world outside felt colder, flatter, lonelier. One night, after a long session, Kira sat alone in her small room on Mars. The lights were low. The silence was heavy. She looked at her hands. They looked the same, but she didn't feel the same. Her thoughts felt sharper, her senses more alive. She could tell when someone was lying just by how they looked at her. She could calm a friend's worry with just a few words. It was like she had been given a new way to see the world, and she loved it. But then came the guilt. She hadn't told anyone about what she was doing. Not her friends, not her co-workers, not even Mr. Lorne, who had already warned her to stay away. What if he was right? What if this was dangerous? But before she could talk herself out of it, she made a choice. She would go back one more time. Just to learn. The next morning, Kira arrived at the embassy earlier than usual. Zilla greeted her with their soft, glowing smile. "You are troubled." Kira nodded. "I think I might be breaking the rules." Zilla tilted their head. "Is it wrong to seek understanding?" Kira hesitated. "Not if you do it safely." Zilla led her into a quiet room filled with soft light and warm air. They sat together, hand in hand. "Then let us understand more." This time, the weave was different. Instead of many voices, there was only one Zilla's. They showed Kira memories that weren't just feelings, but truths, moments from Zern history, lessons from the past. Kira saw how the Zern once tried to share their weave with other species. Some accepted it, others couldn't handle it. Some minds broke, some civilizations fell apart. Only humans stayed whole, because of their emotions, because of their chaos, because of their heart. Kira gasped as the memory faded. "They tried this before," she whispered, "and it went wrong." Zilla nodded gently. "Yes, that is why we are careful now." Kira's heart pounded. "But what if I'm not supposed to know all this?" Zilla looked into her eyes. "If you were not meant to learn, you would not have come back." Kira swallowed hard. She wanted to believe that. She needed to believe that. Later that evening, Kira returned to her room. She barely slept. The next day, she was called to Mr. Lorne's office. He sat behind his desk, arms crossed. His face was serious. "Kira," he said, "we've noticed your increased activity at the Zern embassy." Kira froze. "We also found some of your notes." Her stomach dropped. Lorne leaned forward. "You need to understand something. Humans aren't built for this kind of connection. It changes people. It controls people." Kira shook her head. "No, it doesn't control me. It helps me understand, Mr. Lorne sighed. "That's what they all say, before they lose themselves." He slid a paper across the desk. "This is an order. You're being reassigned, effective immediately." Kira stared at the paper. Her heart beat fast. She wanted to argue, to plead, to explain. But she knew it wouldn't matter. They were afraid of what she had found, afraid of what she had become. So she stood up. She looked Mr. Lorne in the eye. "I don't regret what I did," she said softly. Then she turned and walked out. Back in her room, Kira packed her things. She didn't know where she was going, but she knew one thing. She couldn't stop now. Whatever this was, this weave, this bond, this connection, it had changed her, and she was going to find out why, even if it meant leaving everything else behind, even if it meant becoming something new. Because once you've heard the music of the stars, how can you ever live in silence again? That night, she packed only what she needed: her notes, a few clothes, and the small Zern crystal Zilla had given her. It glowed softly in her hand, pulsing like a heartbeat. She left Earth's diplomatic station on Mars without saying goodbye. Her plan was simple: find Zilla again, learn more, understand why humans were different, why they could handle the weave when others couldn't, and most importantly, why someone wanted to keep that secret hidden. She used an old friend's ID chip to board a transport ship heading out to the outer colonies. Her destination, Zerith 9, a remote Zern colony world far from Concord control. It wasn't safe. Traveling alone between systems as a human was risky. There were bounty hunters who worked for the Concord, and rumors said some alien governments were watching anyone who got too close to Zern's secrets. But Kira didn't care. She had to know the truth. The journey took weeks. On board the ship, she kept to herself. She wore a hood and avoided eye contact. She watched others closely, not just for danger, but for something else. Something she hadn't noticed before. She could feel them, not in words, Not in actions, in emotion. A mother worrying about her child. A soldier hiding his fear. A trader lying to get a better deal. She hadn't felt this so clearly before the weave. Now. It was like seeing colors she had never known existed. She realized something strange. The weave wasn't just inside her during sessions. It was changing how she saw the whole world. When the ship finally landed on Zereth 9, Kira stepped off into a sky full of soft light and floating islands. The air smelled like rain and wind. Tall, glowing trees lined the landing port. Zeren moved gracefully through the city, their smooth skin shimmering in the sun. This place was nothing like Mars. There were no walls, no rules, just peace and connection. Kira walked through the streets, heart pounding. She found the Zeren Council Hall easily. She asked for Zilla. The guard at the door looked at her for a long moment. You are not welcome here. Kira stood her ground. I need to speak with Zilla. Before the guard could stop her, a voice called from behind. Let her pass. Zilla stepped forward. Their eyes met. Kira smiled. Zilla did not. They led her into a quiet room. Then they turned to face her. You should not be here. Kira frowned. I had to come. Zilla looked sad. You are in danger. Kira's smile faded. What do you mean? Zilla sat beside her. After your last visit, the Concord learned what we showed. They fear what you might tell others. Kira's stomach twisted. They're afraid of the weave, she whispered. Zilla nodded. They believe it is a weapon, that humans could become too powerful. Kira shook her head. But it's not a weapon. It's love, understanding. Zilla looked deep into her eyes. To some, that is more dangerous than any war. Kira sat still. Then she asked, what happens now? Zilla reached out. Now, you must choose. Kira placed her hand in theirs. The weave began. This time, it was stronger than ever. She saw visions of futures yet to come, of humans learning the weave, of war stopped before they started, of pain healed with a touch. But she also saw the other side. Of governments trying to control it, of people using it to manipulate others, of power turning into poison. The weave was not good or evil. It was a tool, and tools could be used in many ways. When the vision ended, Kira pulled back, breathing hard. Zilla watched her carefully. You understand now. Kira nodded slowly. Yes, she said, and I'm not going back. Zilla tilted their head. Even if it means running. Hiding? Kira smiled, though her eyes were wet. If it means protecting what we've built, yes. Zilla studied her for a long moment. Then they stood. Then, let us teach you more. And together, they walked deeper into the city, leaving behind the world that tried to silence them. Because once you've seen the truth, how can you ever pretend it doesn't exist? Under Zilla's guidance, she learned to control the weave. Not just feel it, but use it. She could now send her thoughts across short distances. She could calm someone's fear with a touch. She could even share memories like stories passed between minds. But more than that, she was changing. Not just her skills, not just her knowledge. Her mind, her heart. She began to sense things before they happened, feel emotions in others before they spoke. She could tell when someone was lying, not by what they said, but by how their feelings felt inside her head. It was like being tuned to a new frequency, a human frequency, one that had always been there but never fully turned on. Zilla watched her closely. You are growing faster than we expected. Kira smiled. I guess humans learn fast when they care. Zilla tilted their head. Or maybe you were made for this. Kira didn't answer right away. She thought about Earth, about how people lied, fought, hurt each other without understanding why. What if they could all feel like this? What if the world didn't have to be broken? What if love could fix it? But peace didn't last long. One night, alarms rang through the Zeren city. Lights flashed red. Voices echoed in panic. The Concord had found them. Kira ran to Zilla's chamber, heart pounding. They have come, Zilla said quietly. Kira looked out the window. In the sky above, dark ships hovered. Concord warships, sleek and silent. They weren't here to talk. They were here to take her back, or worse. They will try to stop what you have become, Zilla said. Kira swallowed hard. Then let them try. But Zilla shook their head. This is not your fight alone. They reached out and touched her hand. The weave began. This time, it wasn't just Kira and Zilla. Other minds joined, Zirin, humans, even some from other species, who had secretly learned the weave. Together, they formed something new, a network, a shared consciousness. And in that moment, Kira knew. She knew the truth behind the Concord's fear. They didn't just want to stop her. They wanted to erase what she had found. Because once humans learned to truly connect, they would never go back to being controlled. Never go back to being divided. Never go back to being weak. The next morning, Concord agents landed. They came in full armor, weapons ready. Their leader, a tall human woman named Commander Drell, stepped forward. Her voice was cold. Kira Vale, you are under orders to return to Earth for questioning. Kira stood tall. I'm not going anywhere. Drell frowned. You don't understand what you've done. This connection you've built, it's dangerous. It changes people. It can be used as a weapon. Kira stepped forward. It already has been, but not by us. She looked at the agents behind Drell, and she reached out, not with words, with the weave. Just a small pulse, enough to touch their minds. Some flinched, some gasped. One soldier dropped his weapon. He looked at his commander with wide eyes. She's telling the truth, he whispered. She's not trying to hurt anyone. Drell turned sharply. Shut up. But it was too late. The bond had already begun. Even for those who resisted, the seed was planted. And once you feel someone else's truth, how can you ever believe ally again? Later that night, Kira sat with Zilla. You surprised them, Zilla said. Kira smiled. I surprised myself. Zilla studied her carefully. Now you must decide what to do next. Kira looked into the sky. Stars blinked above. Billions of lives, billions of hearts. Most of them still trapped in silence, still afraid to feel. Still hiding from each other. She thought of her home on Earth, of the friends she left behind, of the millions who had never known this kind of connection. And she made a choice. I'm not hiding anymore, she said softly. Zilla nodded. Then let us begin. Together, they started sending the weave farther, across planets, across systems. To any human willing to listen. Because once you felt the warmth of another soul, how can you ever go back to being cold? Across planets, across systems, through hidden networks and secret channels, Kira's voice didn't come through speakers or screens. It came through feeling. Humans all over the galaxy began to sense something new, like a whisper in their chest, calling them to remember what it meant to truly connect. Some felt it as peace. Others as joy. A few as fear. Because once you feel another person's pain, you can't ignore it anymore. And that changes everything. On Earth, protests began. Not for war. Not for power. For understanding. Diplomats who had once ignored Kira now begged for her return. Scientists who had dismissed the weave started asking questions. Even soldiers who had been trained to fight began to wonder, what if we could feel the enemy? Will we still want to kill them? In space, the change was even faster. Zirin colonies opened their doors to humans. Some alien species watched with fear, others with hope. But not everyone welcomed this new wave of connection. The Concord declared Kira an emotional threat. Commander Drell stood before the Galactic Council. We cannot allow this, she said. This bond, this weave, it's not just communication. It's control. And if humans learn to use it, she paused, then no one will be able to stop them. Her words lit a fire. The Concord ordered a crackdown. Warships were deployed. Zirin worlds were placed under watch. Human diplomats were pulled from alien courts. Kira and Zilla watched from Zerith 9 as the stars darkened with ships ready for war. They fear what they do not understand, Zilla said softly. Kira looked at the sky. They should be afraid. She whispered, not of me, but of what happens when people finally see each other. So, she made a choice, not to hide, not to run, but to fight, not with weapons. But with truth. From Zerith 9, Kira and Zilla launched the Weave Wave. It was not a weapon. It was a broadcast. A pulse of emotion sent across the stars. It touched every human mind willing to open. It reached soldiers on battlefields, pilots in deep space, leaders in council chambers. Mothers holding crying children. Lovers separated by light years. And in that moment, they felt each other. They felt the mother's worry, the child's loneliness, the soldier's regret, the pilot's hope. The leader's fear. And most of all, they felt love. Not romantic love, not selfish love, but the kind of love that says, you are not alone. The effects were immediate. On Mars, a group of peacekeepers dropped their weapons mid-patrol. One officer broke down crying as he realized how many innocent lives he had helped destroy. On Titan Station, two rival diplomats sat together in silence after feeling each other's grief. Hours later, they signed a treaty that had failed for years. Even aboard Concorde warships, the change began. One captain stared out at the stars, his heart heavy. He had spent decades preparing for war. Now, he could feel the minds of the enemy. And they were not monsters. They were people, just like him. He turned to his crew. Stand down, he said. His first officer blinked. Sir, stand down. Back on Zereth 9, Kira felt it all. Every drop of fear, every spark of hope. Every heart that changed. She smiled through tears. Zilla stood beside her. You have done what no one thought possible. Kira shook her head. No, she said. I just reminded them of what they already knew. Zilla looked at her with soft eyes. That is the greatest power of all. Kira stepped forward. She looked up at the sky, and she sent one final message across the stars. Feel each other, love each other, remember that we are not alone. And across the galaxy, hearts began to beat as one. Because once you felt the truth of another's soul, how can you ever go back to hatred again? Kira's weave wave had touched too many minds, too many hearts. You couldn't unfeel what you had felt. And once you understood someone's pain, you could never hurt them the same way again. Across the galaxy, humans were no longer just diplomats. They were connectors, healers, bridge builders between species that had hated each other for centuries. Some called Kira a prophet, others called her dangerous, but most just called her human. Commander Drell stood on the bridge of her warship, watching the stars. Her orders were clear. Destroy ZY or ATH-9. Capture Kira Vale. End the weave before it spread further. She clenched her fist. Her crew waited. Give the command. One officer said. Drell looked at the screen. She saw the planet below glowing with life. Not weapons. She thought of what she had felt during the weave wave. A mother's joy, a child's hope, a soldier's sorrow. She closed her eyes, then opened them. Turn us around, she said. The room went silent. Sir, another officer asked. You heard me. Drell said, we're not attacking anyone. She turned to the comms officer. Send a message to all Concorde ships. Pause. Tell them feel first, fight later. On Zereth 9, Kira sat with Zilla in the quiet glow of the forest. They held hands. The weave pulsed softly between them. Kira looked up at the sky. Ships still hovered above, but now they didn't look like threats. They looked like questions. Zilla smiled gently. It is working. Kira nodded. Yeah, but it's not over. No war had ended yet. No treaties had been signed. But something deeper had begun. Something harder to stop. Understanding. Later that day, a message came from Earth. President Loran, head of the United Earth Council, spoke directly to Kira through a secure channel. We don't know what you've done, he said, but everything's different now. Kira watched his face on the screen. I didn't do anything new, she said. I just helped people remember how to feel. Loran sighed. There are those who still fear this, who say we've gone too far. Kira met his eyes. They're afraid because they can't control it. Loran was quiet. Then he said, what do you want? Kira smiled. I don't want power. I don't want war. I just want humans to keep learning, keep connecting. She paused, and I want everyone to know they can feel this too, if they choose. Loran nodded slowly. I'll make sure they hear that. Weeks passed. Slowly, the Concorde began to change. Some alien species rejected the weave. Others embraced. It is Zeren teachers began offering lessons to any species willing to learn, not just about emotions, but about trust, about truth, about love. Humanity became known across the stars not as warriors, not as rulers, but as the species that remembered how to feel. And taught others to do the same. One night, Kira walked alone under the glowing trees of ZY or ATH-9. She looked up at the stars. So many worlds, so many lives. And now, so many chances to connect. Zilla joined her silently. You have changed the galaxy. Kira shook her head. No, she said. I just gave it permission to be kind. Zilla reached for her hand together. They sent out one last pulse, a soft, gentle wave of warmth and light, a reminder that even in the coldness of space, there was still love, still hope. Still connection. And there always would be. As long as someone was willing to feel.